All right, let's finish up notes 2. We're going to continue with our informal graphs. The next one is our pie chart. The most important thing to know about the pie chart is that you are going to have to come up with a relative frequency because, as you know, pie charts deal with percentages. So I'm going to come up with the relative frequency and then turn it right into a percentage. Now, this is the category and this is the frequency. To find a relative frequency, we learned earlier that that is taking the frequency and dividing by n. N is our sample size, which is all of our frequencies added together. There are 24. Now this again is depicting Rubin's activity for the day. So start by finding the relative frequency and converting it to a percentage. 6 divided by 24 is 0.25, which becomes 25%. 2 divided by 24 is 0.083. You always want to keep it to 3 decimal places. That'll show that this was 8.3% of the time. 8 divided by 24 is 0.33 repeated. I'm going to say that that is 33.3% of his day. 3 divided by 24 is 0.125. That is 12.5% of his day. 2 divided, these are already repeating, so that's going to be another 8.3. 3 divided by 24 is also repeated. That is going to be another 12.5%. All right, let's do it. I'm going to start off reminding you that what circle is 100% on the inside. So I'm going to start off by plotting the 25% because I know that that's 1/4 of the circle. 25% of the day, Ruben was in school. Okay, so that one's done. 33%. Here is 33% of my circle. 33% of my circle or of his day was taken up with sleep. Now, I've got two 12.5% that add up to 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and divvy those. Oops, let me make that nicer. So each one of these is 12.5%. And that was him doing sports and leisure time. And again, you can do a lot neater job. It seems to separate my 8% here. This is 8.3%, and this is 8.3%. You can do a legend, you can use color, you can do whatever you'd like to make that look a little nicer. That was the time he spent on homework and meals. All right, we also need a title for every one of these graphs. Ruben's observed activity for a day. That sounds good. Ruben's activities for the day. All right, let's continue. We're going to go on to our time series graph. Now, whenever you're doing time series, what you're doing is you're looking at a trend or what is happening over a period of time. So here, they're showing us the average cost of a 30-second television commercial during the Academy Awards show. Draw and analyze a time series graph for the data. So always on a time series, the times or dates have to be along the bottom. So here is 2010, 2011, all the way up to 2015. That's the year. And here is the cost. But remember, they said that that was in millions. That is also a very important. Remember, anybody who picks up your graphs needs to know exactly what you're talking about. Now, this only went up to 1.9. So here's 1 million and here's 2 million. I'm going to need a little bit more so I can plot these. So I'm going to do 0.5 and 1.5 million. You could do more if you wanted to. Now, the first one goes up to 1.4 million. So you're going to plot a point right there. And I actually do like to write the numbers right above it, but you don't have to. 2011 went up to 1.55. 2012 went up to 1.6. 1.65 is next, very little difference. Y'all, these are, I'm sorry about the handwriting. And then finally 1.78, I could finally tell a difference. And then almost 2. You're going to draw the very straightest lines you can because we need to be able to see any kind of little change in the slope. And that is it. Now we need a title. What is this showing us? The average cost of 30-second commercials during the Academy Awards show. You can make your titles as long or as short as you need, as long as they show or describe exactly what you're trying to show them. The average cost in millions of a 30-second commercial. During the Academy Awards. Okay, now you don't want to abbreviate it. I just did, and that was bad. All right, let's look at our last one, and this is our scatter plot. We're actually going to see this graph later in the semester when we look at regression and correlation. For the scatter plot, it is really you just plotting the points. Okay, if we're looking, a history teacher asked her students how many hours of sleep they had the night before a test, and she collected that information and she wanted to do a scatter plot to see if there's a relationship or not. One student slept 8 hours and made an 83. That's this one. One slept 7 hours and made an 86. But another one slept 7 hours and made a 74. Another one slept 8 hours and made an 88 on the test. One slept 6 hours and made a 76, and so forth. Go ahead and finish that. I'd say there's a relationship. All right, and that would be the end of notes 3. I'm sorry, that would be the end of notes 2.